How's it going, everybody? This is BeatTheBush. Today I'm going to talk about what it means to be able to afford something. Now, being able to afford something means very differently from person to person. At one end of the spectrum, someone might think that they can afford the item as long as it will fit in their credit card, as long as they can make the minimum payments. The second step of affordability may not be as bad as putting on a credit card, but it's more like living on a paycheck to paycheck level where if you have enough money for that rest of the month, if you have extra, then you can go, oh, yeah, I can spend this extra money on whatever it is. You can imagine just because you have just enough to buy that item, you cannot really afford it because you really should not be spending that close to your limit where you have nothing left. Now, the third step of affordability is if you have the cash in hand and yet you have some unpaid off loans such as credit card loans, student loans, or personal loans. This money that you're spending could have been put into those debts instead. This is not really your money because you have debts that you need to repay. The fourth and final step that I strive to operate on is that you should not spend any money on anything until you have all your debts paid off. And on top of this, you need to have enough money to retire on first. Why is this so important? Is because every single dollar you save today, early on in your career, it's going to compound greatly. So by the time that you're ready to retire, it's going to significantly reduce the number of years that you have to work. So when you look at buying big expensive items and things that are not very necessary, every single dollar you spent, it's going to lengthen the time that you need to work in your working life. Assuming that you work normally, save normally, and your target of retirement is around the age of 65. Now, looking backwards at this, you can kind of look at this in terms of whenever you save a certain amount of money, you can work less, like a month or something, or a year. By the time you do a lot of savings and not a lot of spending and just kind of live your life simply with some pleasures, of course, and you want to keep a good standard of living. Now, the trick is you can do all of this without spending a lot of money. And based on my calculations, instead of retiring at 65, I am guaranteed to retire earlier than 55, okay? Probably even earlier than the age of 50. This is 15 years of work that I essentially do not need to do, and I can go pursue other interests. Well, maybe it'll earn money, maybe not. But then the point here is when you retire early and you're financially independent, you actually do not need this money. You don't need to work at all, and you can just live off of your investments or any kind of residual income. So when people mean they can afford it, it can either mean they're financing it, it can mean they have the cash to buy it, or it can mean that they have the cash over and beyond after they reach their retirement goals. This last option is, of course, kind of crazy, and people might say, oh, you're just skimping on your life and you're not really living, and maybe you're going to get hit by a bus way before you actually retire. The point here is to be frugal and keep a very good standard of living. This is done by not buying into all the frivolous things, all the luxury brand items that cost a lot of money, but does not give you actual utility value. As a frugal person, you look at utility value and bang for the buck and value for the dollar the most. To me, this is the most efficient way to spend your time because if you spend it wisely, you're trading your time for money. So you want to trade this money for the best value that you can and not just give it away. In turn, if you spend your money really wisely, you're going to be rewarded with a lot of time. And time is the most value asset that you have. You have a limited amount of time on earth. You can just continue commuting to work and just kind of turning the wheel because you ended up buying into all this luxury goods, all these frivolous things that ended up costing you a lot of money, which in turn means it's costing you a lot of time. I hope this gets you thinking about if you can afford something or not with this brand new angle. Don't forget to give me a like on this video, comment down below. Let me know if you ever buy things with this thought in mind. If you're interested in supporting this channel, don't forget to check out my Audible link down in the video description below where you can get a free audiobook. I have a Patreon over here if you're interested in supporting my channel directly. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to my channel over here. Thanks for watching.